Miss Fairfax, ever since I met you, I have admired you more than any girl I have ever met. Since I met you.
Yes, I am quite well aware of the fact. And for me, you have always had an irresistible fascination. Even before I met you, I was far from indifferent to you.
But how...
We live, as I hope you know, Mr. Worthing, in an age of ideals. And my ideal has always been to love someone of the name of Earnest. There is something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. The moment Algernon first mentioned to me that he had a friend called Earnest, I knew I was destined to love you.
You really love me, Gwendolen?
Passionately.
Darling, you don't know how happy you've made me.
My own Earnest.
Yes, but you don't mean to say that you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Earnest.
Your name is Earnest.
Yes, I know it is, but personally, darling, to speak quite candidly, I don't think I care very much about the name of Earnest. I don't think the name suits me at all.
It suits you perfectly as a divine name. It has music of its own. It produces vibrations.
Well, really, I must say, I think there are a great many much nicer names. I think Jack, for instance, a charming name.
Jack? No, there's very little music in the name Jack, if any at all, indeed. It does not thrill. It produces absolutely no vibrations.
Gwendolen, I must get christened at once. I mean, we must get married at once. There is no time to be lost.
Married, Mr. Worthing?
Well, surely, you know that I love you. And you led me to believe, Miss Fairfax, that you were not wholly indifferent to me.
I adore you, but you haven't proposed to me yet. Nothing has been said at all about marriage. The subject has not even been touched on.
Well, may I propose to you now?
I think it would be an admirable opportunity. To spare you any possible disappointment, Mr. Worthing, I think it only fair to tell you, quite frankly, beforehand, that I am fully determined to accept you.
Well, Gwendolen...
Yes, Mr. Worthing, what have you got to say to me?
You know what I've got to say to you.
Yes, but you don't say it.
Gwendolen, my own, on bended knee, I ask you...
Are you on bended knee? So you are. Proceed.
Gwendolen, will you marry me?
Of course I will, darling.
Oh.
How long you have been about it?
Mr. Worthing, rise, sir, from this semi-recumbent posture. It is most indecorous.
Mamma.
Lady Bracknell,
No, Ernest, don't get up. Mamma, I must beg you to retire. This is no place for you. Besides, Mr. Worthing is not quite finished yet.
Finished what, may I ask?
I am engaged to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Pardon me, you are not engaged to anyone. When you do become engaged to someone, I, or your father, should his health permit him, will inform you of the fact.
But Lady Bracknell...
As for you, Mr. Worthing, I have a few questions to put to you. You will kindly accompany me into the music room.
But, Mamma...
And you, Gwendolen, will remain here with your cousin Algernon. This way, Mr. Worthing. Mr. Worthing, I feel bound to tell you that you are not down on my list of eligible young men. However, I'm quite ready to enter your name, should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I smoke.
I'm glad to hear it. A man should always have an occupation of some kind. How old are you?
35.
Oh, a very good age to be married. I have always been of opinion that a man who desires to get married should know either everything or nothing. Which do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I'm pleased to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. What is your income?
Between £7,000 and £8,000 a year. I have a country house with about 1,500 acres and a townhouse in Belgrave Square.
Now, that is not unsatisfactory. Now to minor matters. Are your parents living?
I have lost both my parents.
To lose one parent, Mr. Worthing, may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. Who was your father?
I'm afraid I really don't know. The fact is, Lady Bracknell, I said I had lost both my parents. It would perhaps be nearer the truth to say that my parents seem to have lost me. I don't really know who I am by birth. I was found.
Found?
The late Mr. Thomas Cardew found me and gave me the name of Worthing because he happened to have a first-class ticket for Worthing in his pocket at the time. Worthing is a seaside resort.
Where did the gentleman who had the ticket for this seaside resort find you?
In a handbag.
A handbag?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I was in a handbag. A somewhat large black leather handbag with handles to it. An ordinary handbag, in fact.
In what locality did this Mr. Cardew come across this ordinary handbag?
In the cloakroom at Victoria Station. It was given to him in mistake for his own.
The cloakroom at Victoria Station?
Yes, the Brighton line.
The line is immaterial. Mr. Worthing, I confess I feel somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, or at any rate bred in a handbag, whether it had handles or not, seems to me to display a contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life that reminds one of the worst excesses of the French Revolution.
I ask you then what you would advise me to do?
Do? Well, I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to make a definite effort to produce at any rate one parent of either sex before the social season is quite over.
But...
Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
What's the matter? Oh. Didn't he go off all right, old boy?
Well, as far as Gwendolyn's concerned, we're engaged. But her mother is perfectly unbearable. You don't think there's any chance of Gwendolyn becoming anything like her mother in about 150 years, do you, Algy?
All women become like their mothers. That is their tragedy. No man does. That's his.
Is that clever?
It's perfectly phrased. By the way, did you tell Gwendolyn the truth about your being Earnest in town and Jack in the country?
My dear fellow, the truth isn't quite the sort of thing one tells to a nice, sweet, refined girl.
But what about your brother? What about the profligate Earnest?
Oh, I shall say he died suddenly in Paris of a severe chill. That gets rid of him.
But I thought you said that Miss Cardew was a little too much interested in your poor brother Earnest. Won't she feel his loss a good deal?
Oh, Cicely isn't a silly romantic girl at all, I'm glad to say. She goes for long walks and pays no attention at all to her lessons.
I would rather like to see Cicely.
I shall take very good care you never do. She's excessively pretty and she's only just 18.
Have you told Gwendolyn yet that you have an excessively pretty ward who is only just 18?
Oh, one doesn't blurt these things out to people. Gwendolyn and Cicely are perfectly certain to be great friends. I bet you anything you like that half an hour after they've met, they'll be calling each other sister.
Women only do that when they've called each other a lot of other things first. Oh, by the way, what did you say was your address in the country?
I didn't say. And I've no intention of saying. Not to you, dear boy.
Ernest, my own...
Gwendolyn, upon my word.
Algy, kindly turn your back. I've something very particular to say to Mr. Worthing.
Really, Gwendolyn, I don't think I can allow this at all.
Turn your back, I said. Thank you. Ernest, we may never be married.
Oh.
From the expression on Mamma's face, I fear we never shall. But although she may prevent us from becoming man and wife, and I may marry someone else, and marry often, nothing that she can possibly do can alter my eternal devotion to you.
Dear Gwendolyn.
The story of your romantic origin, as related to me by Mamma with unpleasing comments, has naturally stirred the deeper fibers of my nature. Your Christian name has an irresistible fascination. The simplicity of your character makes you exquisitely incomprehensible to me. Your London address I have. What is your address in the country?
The Manor House, Woolton, Hertfordshire.
The Manor House, Woolton, Hertfordshire. It may be necessary to do something desperate. I will communicate with you daily. Algy, you may turn round.
Thanks, I've turned round already.
I must go. Mamma is waiting for me.
You will let me see you to your carriage, my own darling.
Goodbye, Algy. Come, my darling.
Lane!
Yes?
Tomorrow, Lane, I am going bunburying.
Yes.
I shall probably not be back till Monday. You can put up my dress clothes, my smoking jacket, and all the Bunbury suits.
Yes, sir. And what address will find you, sir?
The Manor House, Woolton, Hertfordshire. And by the way, Lane.
Yes, sir?
I have just thought of an innovation. This time, I am not using my own name.
Yes, sir. What name are you using, sir?
Worthing. Mr. Earnest Worthing. You quite understand that, Lane?
Yes, sir. You are Mr. Ernest Worthing at the Manor House, Woolton, Hertfordshire.
That is quite right.